The movie starts in the house of Luis. He is a drug lord and meets his partner Fabio. They are celebrating after finishing the last deal together. The love they share is fake and they are just fooling each other. Fabio gives him digital storage, and Luis makes sure that Fabio doesn't have any copy. But when he leaves, Luis instructs his men to kill him. Fabio already knows it's all fake. He leaves the yard hurriedly, knowing that Luis would come after him and try to kill him and his entire family, and that he would do anything to achieve that. He rushes home and tells his wife Alicia that they have 10 minutes to pack out. Alicia already knows about his activities and the people he is dealing with, so she isn't so shocked at what is to come and starts packing immediately. Sitting there is Fabio's little daughter Catalia, who observes her father and mother as they pack in a hurry. Fabio then goes to his daughter and speaks with her in a farewell voice and expression. He gives her a small chip and a letter to help her survive if anything bad happens to him and her mother. The small chip contains information that mustn't be exposed, while the letter contains the address of his brother, in case anything bad happens to them. He also gives her his necklace. As they pack, Luis's men arrive and start shooting. Fabio and Alicia pick up their guns and fight back as well, but Luis's men manage to kill them right in front of Catalia. Marco is Luis's most versatile man, so he starts to persuade Catalia to hand over the small device that belongs to Luis. He knows that Fabio is smart, and he would have given the small chip to his daughter. Catalia is a smart girl. She stabs Marco immediately and starts to run away. She swallows the chip as she runs, and they chase her around the street. She is very fast and small, so she is able to enter places where Luis's men couldn't follow her, and manages to escape, and head straight to the police station to help her. But they don't know anything about her, so she vomits to give the chip to them. They take her to Miami since she claims the chip is her passport. When they arrive there, she sneaks away from the people accompanying her. She makes her way down to Chicago, where her father said she would meet his brother Emilio. Catalia eventually meets her uncle and welcomes her into his home. Emilio puts Catalia in a room to rest because she has gone through hell to reach him. The next day, Catalia asks Emilio and his wife about the room she slept in, and they tell her it's their dead son's room, so their son was killed too. She afterward asks him to help her to become a professional killer, so she takes down the bad guys who killed her parents. Emilio takes Catalia to school, but Catalia doesn't like the idea of going there. She tells Emilio that school doesn't have anything to offer her, and that she wants to be a killer. 15 years later in California, Catalia is now a fully grown lady. She plays a drunk driver and crashes her car with the police vehicle so they can take her to the station. She is now a professional killer, trying to kill all the bad guys. The police keep her in their custody for the night, and she pretends to be really drunk and sleeps off. But at the same time, a man called Gennaro is being taken into custody as well. Later that evening, Catalia changes into her spy clothes. She infiltrates the cell rooms through the overhead vents until she gets to where they lock Gennaro and encounters a policeman guarding the vicinity. She knocks him down and uses him to gain entrance into the cell, and she kills Gennaro with the gun she collects from the policeman. The policemen hear the gunshot and rush down to find out what is happening. When they get to his room, they discover that he's been shot dead. They restrain the innocent police guarding him immediately, and they can see that he isn't the one that killed him since he's barely conscious. Catalia sneaks back to the room they keep her, and she leaves no tracks behind, escaping the whole assassination unnoticed. Arriving at the airport is Agent Ross, a highly trained special FBI agent. He starts to investigate the assassination and requests CCTV footage on anybody that entered or left the station during the time frame. Catalia leaves the police station the next day and calls Emilio to inform him that the mission is completely successful. Agent Ross keeps his in-depth investigation of the case going. Mr. Richard, the police officer secretly working for Luis, gets the information to him. He figures out it must be Catalia that is doing all the work, because apparently a good number of criminals like Gennaro have been assassinated. Agent Ross keeps digging deep into the case, and as he does so, he keeps getting closer to finding who did the assassination. He comes up with 10 people who were present at the station just about the time when the assassination takes place, and makes it clear that the killer is definitely among these 10 people. However, he instructs the policeman to find these people and their details in the last 10 years, because he actually means to arrest the killer before they make another kill. Catalia goes to her boyfriend's house and she spends the night there. She leaves the next day to meet Emilio to collect a new mission. Emilio tells her she might be going rogue in the operations, and she says back to him and implores him to watch her back until everything is done. Back in the police station, Agent Ross keeps investigating relentlessly. Catalia goes to her next target, sneaks into his security-tight house, and feeds him to the shark in his aquarium. Every time she kills a victim, she leaves a flower sign behind as a tag intended to get particular information across to those that need to get the information. Mr. Richard then calls Marco to clean the mess, and that he already has the FBI on his trail. When Catalia gets back to her boyfriend's house, she finds he has gone to work and that he will come back the next day. Agent Ross's men show him the footage that captures Catalia, but he says it can never be a woman. Her boyfriend Danny returns back home and starts asking her a couple of questions about her and how she feels about him. Although she isn't Catalia to Danny, and she told him that her name is Jennifer. The next day at Danny's house, Catalia wakes up late and rushes down to Emilio, but he seems to be frustrated about Luis's move and tells Catalia that she's retired. Meanwhile, Danny tells his friend Ryan about Jennifer and that he doesn't know much about her, and he wishes to spend the rest of his life with her. Ryan starts to track Jennifer. He shares her picture on Danny's phone secretly to a lady who can help him track and get the details of her so that he can give it to Danny. The lady is trying to help them get Catalia's details, hacks into the FBI database to do so, but Agent Ross gets the notice and looks into the matter. Danny then tells Jennifer later on the phone that he misses her, but has been staring at the picture of her that he has on his phone. Catalia immediately asks him if he shared the picture, but as she speaks to him on the phone, she sees the FBI coming right into her home. She plays and acts very smart, so as to get herself a step ahead of them. Agent Ross already knows his target is a woman and yells at his men to find her. Catalia escapes them eventually and returns back home, but Emilio's wife, whom she now calls mother, has been murdered, and so does Emilio. Again, she loses her family, and she cries bitterly. Agent Ross gets a visitor in his house. It is Catalia. She asks him to sit down on a chair with a bomb planted beneath, and asks him to find and prosecute Luis, or else she would assassinate Agent Ross's family as a threat. Agent Ross makes it clear to Catalia that he has tried to get after Luis too, but he is being protected by some part of the government, and the CIA has his back somehow. Catalia tells him not to stand up from the chair after a particular time if he doesn't want to meet his maker, and leaves. Agent Ross heads straight to Mr. Richard, the corrupt CIA agent whom he has met Catalia, and explains everything to help him. But Mr. Richard discards him without giving him what he wants. Catalia snipes Mr. Richard's office from far away as Agent Ross speaks with him. She makes a call with him to ask Mr. Richard about Luis's address, and she shoots with her sniper rifle to get Mr. Richard to speak up, and he doesn't hesitate to give out the address. Now Catalia knows where Luis is, and she quickly goes to him. She greets Luis with an explosion and starts killing his men, and she kills every last one of them until it's just Marco and Luis' last men standing. She decides to fight Marco instead of shooting him. The fight is really tough, but she managed to kill Marco. The last man standing is now Luis, and he tries to escape with a van. He escapes Catalia eventually, and he gets a call in the van from her. He threatens to kill her and tells her she will never find him, but Catalia tells him that he is where she exactly wants him. That is when he looks behind him in the car and sees two bad dogs. They are her dogs she already puts in the van because she knows Luis would try to escape with the van. Afterwards, Agent Ross interrogates Danny about Catalia, but he tells him he doesn't know much about her. Danny then gets a call from Jennifer as a parting conversion, and she tells him he might still see her again, and closes the call before the police can track her location. And now, Catalia manages to revenge all men who killed her family, but after losing everything. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next video.
Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel.